Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to our first Furman football game week preview from the Ingalls-Furman Radio Network. I am Dan Scott, voice of the Paladins, and started this last year. It's just a little bit of what we are looking at from a radio broadcast perspective, some of the things we are highlighting, storylines we're watching as we prepare for the 2022 season opener, Thursday Night Football, September the 1st. We're releasing this on Wednesday, so tomorrow or today if you're watching it on game day, whenever it is, September the 1st, 2022, the season opener, and it's Furman and North Greenville here at Paladins Stadium. Billing this as FU After Dark, new uniforms, purple helmets, so much going on with this season opener, and we are excited to get back to it. David Cobb, Marcus McMorris, Tom Van Hoy, and me, we are all going to be here and ready for another season of Furman University football in 2022. The depth charts have been released, and you may have picked up on the fact that Tyler Huff, the transfer from Presbyterian College, has won, at least at the outset, the quarterback job over Jace Wilson for the Paladins. And I had a chance to talk this morning briefly with Tommy Spangler, who is on Furman's defensive staff now, but was the head coach at Presbyterian College for the first portion of Tyler Huff's career. And I said, hey, Tommy, what do I need to know about this young man? And he said, well, his story is incredible. You know, he was the starting quarterback there through the 2021 spring season when Spangler was there. They had the coaching change at PC, and the new coach brought in his own quarterback, and Huff was relegated to a backup role last year. Graduated, had 2 years of eligibility left, decided to come to Furman and give it a shot, and lo and behold, here at the outset of the 2022 season, he has won the starting quarterback spot. And I said, you know, how do you describe this kid? What's the best way from a radio standpoint for us to describe who Tyler Huff is? And he said, well, he said he's a quarterback, but he has a linebacker mentality. And then I think the best compliment that any coach could give any player, and if you are a coach or a player, you know this is not just a throwaway term. He called Tyler Huff a competitor. So that is the young man who is going to be running the show, at least at the outset. I would expect that we will see Jace Wilson as well, who took over about the midway point as the starter a year ago as a true freshman and had his ups and downs. But, man, when he was good, he was really good. It was a good battle this fall camp. Right now, Huff has the upper hand as far as the depth chart is concerned. We will see how it plays out moving forward. But I just talking with Tommy Spangler, he really, really loves Tyler Huff. And, of course, he has that backstory and that history with him. You look at this Furman depth chart, and defensively, it is as veteran and as deep as I can remember in a long time. And I was joking with Clay Hendricks the other day that it's not been very often in this his sixth season that he could say that he has a veteran team. But he does have a tremendously veteran team. A lot of guys who have played a lot of snaps, been through an awful lot with this team. And yet you look at the defense, as deep and as talented as it is, there's only a handful of guys who are playing their last year of eligibility. Cameron Coleman is a redshirt senior. Braden Gilby is a redshirt senior. Travis Blackshear came back for his redshirt senior year. So those three guys are playing their final year. Matt Sachovka, who you recall was injured in the opening game last year, is a graduate student, but Sachovka still has 2 years of eligibility remaining, counting this season, and it aligns perfectly with the new graduate program that Furman has instituted here. So even though it is a veteran deep defense, they still have the vast majority of guys with multiple years of eligibility, which has to be exciting. On the offensive side of things, it is an incredibly talented group of skill players. So much depth at the running back spot that Wayne Anderson has transitioned full-time into a wide receiver. That's how much depth there is at the running back spot. You have the transfer Kendall Dean, who's come in at a wide receiver spot as well. He and Luke Shiflett kind of going head-to-head for one of those wide receiver positions. Talked about the quarterback. We know the skill level at the running back with Dominic Roberto as the lead back, Devin Abrams there, and just an incredible amount of young talent behind those guys as well. The issue to watch with this offense is going to be depth on the offensive line. The front five are solid. When you look at Evan Jumper and Jacob Johanning, Anderson Tomlin White, Hughes Pearson Tooney, those guys are solid. But with some departures from the program and some injuries in the preseason, the depth up front is only going to be, at least at the beginning of the season, about 8 total. So that's an area to watch from an offensive standpoint. Can that offensive line, can those front five, who are going to have to play a lot of snaps, stay healthy? Can the 3 other guys who are kind of aligned as the first line of backup right now, E.J. Wilson, Ryan Lamb, and Blake Hunley, can those guys provide quality snaps as backups? And then who else is going to come along behind them? That's the, I think, main area of concern. Didn't mention Eli Brasher, so maybe you've got 4 guys there. But that's the main area of concern, I think, with this offense right now is the depth on the offensive line. But as you go into this season, I think you have to be very, very optimistic about the talent level that is going to be put out there for this Furman really offense and defense, and we haven't even touched on the special teams yet. We'll maybe get into that in just a little bit. But cautiously optimistic because we know that the story is yet to be written. But from a Paladin standpoint, I think offensively those 2 storylines, Tyler Huff as the starting quarterback and how well the offensive line not only plays but how healthy it stays is going to be the early storylines to follow. From a North Greenville standpoint, this is an interesting team. The Crusaders, of course, did not play at all in 2020. There was no spring 2021 season for them. So they had the 2019 fall season, missed an entire year, and then came back and played a year ago in the fall of 2021, went 5-6 under head coach Jeff Farrington, who, of course, was a former assistant coach here at Furman. And you look at his record, they were starting to get some things moving there. He came on in 2013, 5-6 his first year, and then 3 straight winning seasons, including making the Division II playoffs in 2016. Things got a little rough. They transferred into the Gulf South Conference, which was a step up in competition for them. And you can see 2018, 4-6, 2019, 3-7, and then 5-6 a year ago. Their issue in 2021 was scoring enough points offensively. They were outscored on average by a 27, almost 28-26 margin. So they were in a lot of games, but offensively they had issues getting over that hump. And then when you look at what's coming back for them, that's got to be the biggest question mark for this Crusader team because their starting quarterback from a year ago, Kalen Riley, is gone. Bryce Fields has won the starting job. He only appeared in 7 games last year, only had 44 pass attempts all season long, completed 24 of those for 356 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Their leading returning running back, E.J. Humphrey, only had 49 attempts a year ago, had 247 yards rushing, average 5 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns, but only 49 attempts in 11 games. Their leading rusher, Dre Williams, who handled the bulk of the load, is gone. And then in their wide receiving core, of the 8 in their 2 deep, between the wide receivers and the tight end, only 5 of them caught passes a year ago, and those 5 combined for just 20 catches, 15 of those by Doug Washington. So the other 4 only combined for a grand total of 5 receptions. So from a Crusader standpoint, they are going to be really in a feeling out process offensively moving forward in this season, and they are going to be relying heavily on their defense, and that's where this team is talented. Kwame Livingston returns. He's a preseason all-conference performer in the Gulf South, led their defensive front with 44 tackles and 2 sacks a year ago. And then also their weak side linebacker, Davion Donald, was a freshman of the year in the Gulf Coast or the Gulf South Conference last year, second team all-conference, all Gulf South preseason. So they've got some talented guys on that side of the ball. And early in the season anyway, it would appear that it's their defense that's going to have to align to keep them in games. Taking a look at what else is going on around the Southern Conference in this week. Other Thursday night games, Citadel is at Campbell, Kennesaw State at Samford, the Bulldogs at home. VMI will open at Wake Forest, which is ranked 22nd in the country, and Mars Hill is at ETSU. And then coming up on Saturday, Western Carolina at Charleston Southern, Wofford on the road at Chattanooga. So those 2 teams opening up in conference play. And Mercer, who played and beat Morehead State badly last week, on the road at Auburn this week. And there you can see all of the television availability should you want to watch that game. From a Furman standpoint, I told you they're billing this as FU After Dark, the black uniforms, the purple helmets for this game. All of the festivities that will be going on outside the stadium when tailgating opens up 3 or 4 hours prior to kickoff, including live music again this year. It's really going to be a festive atmosphere. If you were in the stadium at all last year, you know in 2021, our athletic director, Jason Donnelly, and the entire external staff really elevated the game day experience and going to be trying to take that to even better levels this year. So there you can see the particulars here at Paladins Stadium, the ESPN3 broadcast info. I like Mark and I like Cole, but we want you to, if you're at home and can't make it to the stadium, you can watch it, but turn the sound down and listen to the radio broadcast. It's available at the Fan Upstate's 2 locations or 2 frequencies here in the Upstate, 97.7 FM in Greenville, 97.1 in Spartanburg. Odyssey.com, FurmanPaladins.com. You can get the online links at either of those places. We will begin with the Pepsi Countdown to Kickoff at 5:30 p.m., leading you into the 7 o'clock kick. And I'll just remind you that on the Fan Upstate, from 3 p.m. until 5:30 on game day, Mark Ryan, host of Offsides with Mark Ryan, is actually going to be doing his talk show live from the Visitors Radio booth. Clay Hendricks will be on that show live at about 3:45, and some various other guests before we get into the Pepsi Countdown to Kickoff at 5:30. So we've got you covered on the air, we got you covered in the stadium, and we look forward to getting this 2022 season kicked off in a big, big way here at Paladin Stadium. It's FU After Dark, Furman, and North Greenville to open the season. Happens to be my 33rd wedding anniversary as well, September 1st. So happy anniversary, Angela, and thank you for putting up with what I do for a living this time of year. When we got married 33 years ago, we had no idea that this is where my career was going to take us, but we are loving every minute of it. And then I'm taking her away this weekend afterwards, so she's cool with it. Hope you enjoyed it. We will be back with one of these every week prior to kickoff. It's Furman, North Greenville, 5:30 airtime, 7 o'clock kick here at Paladin Stadium on Thursday night. Look forward to having you here. Until then, as always, I'm Dan Scott saying God bless you. So long, everybody.